Blue Archive is a free-to-play tactical anime RPG developed by Nixon. It's well known for its adorable characters and well-written story, and pretty art. I was definitely drawn in most by the visuals myself. It is also a gacha, and rolling for pretty ladies is a lot of fun. I personally adore the character sprites, especially more recent ones. They're simple, yet so pleasing to look at, and I want to learn to be able to draw in a more simple and cute style. So I choose to attempt to study it. So today, I'm gonna try my best to turn my OC, Mittens, into a Blue Archive sprite. Now, there are a whole bunch of artists that work on the game. Although the styles of the sprites are very alike, I narrowed it down to 3 artists whose sprites I liked. First, Gollum, who drew sprites for Kanoi, Professor Smug, and Kei. Haruru is the artist behind Mari, Atsuko, swimsuit version, Iori, swimsuit, and Mio. And then Child is both the Tachibana twins artists, Ui, and Kamekei's Arabu. All the artist credits can be found on the Blue Archive fandom wiki, though I had a hard time finding some credits occasionally, but it's the best source I had available. First, I want to start by breaking down the sprites and figuring out the main things that make up the style. This included picking out size brush they would use and what kind of brush it was. I was lucky enough to stumble upon a comment from one of the artists, Child, saying that they used the normal G pen, so I went with that. Although I can't guarantee all artists use it. I also looked into what colours were used, including line colours, shadings, and highlights compared to the base, and whereabouts the lighting would be placed. I then broke down the eyes. First off, how the irises would be rendered. Most of the eyes had different styles depending on characters, but they all roughly had around 5 to 6 colours in them and kept with a cel-shaded style, aka no blending. They all have smaller pupils and are oval shaped. Then lashes. They don't seem to have a consistent shape. This is good to avoid same face syndrome. But they all had similar rendering styles. The colours of the lashes kind of depend on the hair and eyes, but I also noticed some were random. They all have a darker base with gradiented ends with lighter colours. Next, I broke down the bodies. Blue Archive characters are relatively petite. They are 6 heads tall, with the majority having long, slender limbs. They're mostly made of soft, round shapes with some pointier shapes, like on the fingers and ends of hair. This was my first attempt at sketching Blue Archive pose. Although not awful, I didn't have a clear idea for the pose, so decided to look for pose ideas and start again. Poses in Blue Archive are normally quite simple, but still resemble the characters well. Looking at the way characters posed, I noticed none of them have both hands down by their side. Normally one hand will be holding something, like their weapon, or sometimes posed. This was the pose I came up with. I'm planning to draw my own character into the style, so I'm trying to have a pose that suits her. I don't think I will add her holding anything, so it will be a posing hand. After cleaning up the pose, I have this. I'm pretty happy with it. Although it isn't perfect, I think it does come close to Blue Archive style. Though I struggled a little with the thickness of things like arms and legs. Once I had the base down, it's time to start making her mittens. So, giving her clothes, eyes, and hair. Although I know most Blue Archive characters don't have ears and tails, I'm sticking with my design, so I'm keeping them both. Now, line art. done! I stuck with using the classic G Pen brush with a 2.5 to 3 pixel size. I kept the lines simple and clean as Blue Archive line art is super tidy. I also kept the eyes simple and kept the colours arranged like they would be in the game's character style. Next up is adding the flat colours. And done! I'm still not really feeling like it looks super Blue Archive style, but I'm hoping adding some shading and colouring lines will help. Shading and line colouring. I used a lot of references from characters with the same clothing style to try and get the shading alike. I then coloured the lines with darker colours to the colours the lines are surrounding. I also added simple highlights to the hair by using a very light overlay. After adjusting some things and creating some expressions, I'm done. I also added a simple background to make it look like a Blue Archive reference sheet. To be honest, I don't think it looks quite like Blue Archive style. There's just something that looks off. Maybe my lines are too thick, or it could be that my design just doesn't fit the style. I'm not sure. I think I'd have to draw it a few more times to truly perfect it. Do you think it looks like a Blue Archive character page? Would it fool you? Let me know in the comments. I'm hoping I can do more of these style study videos in the future. I need to get better at doing art studies, but I struggle to get motivated, so making videos on it would help get me to do more. So if this video does well, I'll make more alike. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.